Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkas, and this is Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, there was a lot of news, of course, last week, which I took off, of course, for Free Comic Book Day, which turned out to be a bust. But hey, what's going to happen? This week was okay news wise, but y- you know, um, I'll get into a few things here and there. Mainly being that hey, Stanley Tweedle, how's it going? And Kajani Golkosh, hey, how's it going? Kajani, there we go. Yeah, there was an A and Viking bitch, how's it going? Exactly, SBO, Saturday Morning Blast Off, and I want to get into a little bit about the controversy of this week's Game of Thrones episode, which is just kind of fucking retarded. Not, excuse me, really fucking stupid. There we go. You know, but yeah, it just. Oh, okay, you're Brian. There we go, Kajani. Got it. Uh, yeah, I'm not. I'll get into that in a little bit. We're also going to go over kind of what shows are either being canceled on the bubble or returning or in limbo still. Because we have a lot of those going on right now too. Yesterday was kind of what they call Black Friday for TV shows, and there was a culling of TV shows. I mean, it was a bloodbath, quite honestly, and rightfully so because there's a lot of shit on TV right now. There's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot of bad stuff too. The bad stuff still outnumbers the good stuff that's on TV. So we'll get into that and also some other news as well. Letting some people trickle in. I will get to some of the lighter stuff here. So, speaking of renewals, cancellations, all that kind of stuff, What We Do in the Shadows got renewed for a second season. Not a big surprise considering that the executive producer directed, Thor Ragnarok and is directing the sequel to that one, of course. And that's his baby. And it is now owned by Disney. So, yeah, I mean, that is a kind of a no brainer right there. Um, yeah, there's a lot of other Fox shows that were owned by, that are Marvel collaborations that weren't getting the same kind of love. Yeah. Sculpted letter by Viking Bitch says, I love what we do in the shadows. I'm so excited they got another season. And of course, Legion can't miss that. Yeah, Legion's going into its third and final season. We already know that. I didn't get a chance to see the new trailer. I know there's a new trailer out there. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I've got to actually start watching a little bit more of What We Do in the Shadows. I've been watching everything else except that. I'm still in the middle of like Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina season 2, which is really damn good, by the way. I just, time management. That's all I can say. I've only got so much time in the day, and work keeps getting in the way too. Exactly. I want to see the episode with was it Tilda Swinton or Kate Blanchett that was in it? It was Tilda Swinton, actually. I had heard that she was in one of the recent episodes. Yeah, we've got Good Omens coming up as well. Exactly, Pen Farm Girl. What We Do in the Shadows had a cameo by Wesley Snipes, Tilda Swinton, Dave Batista. Oh, nice. Yeah, I have to take a look at that just for that alone. And we also got good movies coming out too. We have, of course, the Jim Jarmusch movies, The Dead Don't Die, which I am totally looking forward to. Speaking of Tilda Swinton, because she steals that movie completely, especially the trailer. Even though there's a lot of people in that movie that are stealing scenes, but for somehow she kind of outdoes them and goes above and beyond what she needs to do in that trailer. And I'm already a Jim Jarmusch fan. I love Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai is like one of my favorite movies by him. Also, Dead Man, I believe, is what it's called. It's the Johnny Depp movie that's all shot in black and white. It's a very slow movie, but it's actually a really good movie too at the same time. And of course, Coffee and Cigarettes, which is a great Bill Murray movie too. Well, it's not Bill Murray centric. It's about a whole bunch of people, having coffee and drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes, and yeah. So there we go. Kajani says Godzilla and Brightburn are going to be good. I don't know, to tell you the truth. See, the first Godzilla trailer for the first movie by Gareth Edwards looked like it was going to be good, and that was a complete and total shit show. This one, I'm kind of tempering it. It looks good, but they keep showing the same footage over and over again, and it's only the same, like 5 seconds of footage. Quite honestly, I'm not holding out hope for that. Brightburn, it's the same kind of thing. It's again, I keep seeing the same footage over and over again, and I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on either one as of yet. I'm gonna go and see them definitely, but I don't know. Coffee and cigarettes. Yes, exactly. It's a Jim Jarmusch movie, Coffee and Cigarettes. Exactly. Penn Farm Girl says Godzilla, Brightburn, and John Wick all look better than I expected. John Wick 3 is what I'm looking forward to. I am down for John Wick 3, and definitely, yeah, that series has me sold. The first two are just perfect movies. Hey, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, the first two are just perfect movies, and they play like one big long movie if you play them back to back. I'm pretty sure the third one's going to as well. Chad Stileski, who is the director, he was a former stuntman, um, put this together. I still can't believe the first John Wick movie, the writer of that was his first script ever. Yeah, and it's just amazing. That's wrong, Mr. Roboto. That's really wrong. And it's not about the dog, as he says in the third trailer either. And speaking of Chad Stileski, when he was doing the rounds for Variety, I believe, he was getting interviewed, and he dropped a little bit of news saying that the Wachowskis are working again in the Matrix world again. Take that with a grain of salt, because then Stileski's representative came back and said no, he was misrepresented in the interview. And then people started going back through the transcripts of the interview, and they're like, no, this is what he said. He said that they were working on something, and then Zach Penn kind of chimed in on Twitter saying that yes, there is something being worked on. They can't talk about it at the moment. So I don't know if we're getting a remake of the Matrix, a reboot, or a sequel to it, or what. The Wachowskis haven't had a hit in a long time. That's all I'm going to say. I can't remember when the last one was. It might have been the Matrix. It was the last hit, quite honestly. So yeah, it's kind of kind of a long haul for them. Hey, Giovanna, didn't see you come in there. Viking bitch says the boyfriend got me to watch John Wick, and I am so ready for number 3. Yeah, uh, perfect movies. I mean, Peter Stormare in the second movie alone sold me on that, especially. Yeah, Kajani, the less said about Sense8, the better. There's a reason why it got canceled by Netflix. So yeah, I'm sorry, that shit didn't make any sense. I'm a big J. Michael Straczynski fan, and I actually saw him at Comic Con. He was in a small room too. He was probably about 30 feet away from me, and he was talking with the crowd and everything like that about Sense8. And I was kind of into it, and then I watched the first episode. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this? And yeah, I couldn't get into it. Stanley Trio says, I know what number 1 and number 2 is, but number 3 is new to me too. Speed Racer Agent Future was visually stylistic and cool visually, but the story's a mess. You go back in and you try and look at that story, and that story's a freaking mess. And I understand, yes, they were trying to follow the anime in a way. Wow, clean it up just a little bit. I mean, clean up the narrative a bit, have a decent storyline. It was a mess. Kajani says Wachowskis always remind me of the Family Guy episode when Peter finds out both Wachowski are sisters now. Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of a weird thing too, but To each their own. There you go. Viking Bitch says Sense8 was a good concept, but it lost its way. Yeah. Yeah, Viking Bitch, the less said about Speed Racer, the better. It's considered one of the great flops. And it's kind of funny. The Wachowskis have their name attached to a couple of really big flops. There was that Jupiter Ascending or Jupiter Rising or something like that. That were really bad. Mila Kunis movie. That was really horrible. Yes, I know, Mr. Roboto, what Speed Racer is about, but it was just really badly pulled off. It's really pretty. It's a very pretty movie. It's got the greatest visuals I've ever seen, but God. Oh. Stanley Tweedle says, I heard Speed Racer is supposed to be a good adaptation. Mm, eh, yeah. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. The anime, Mr. Roboto, is great for its time. Uh, yeah. It's just the movie was, woo. Yeah. So let's see what else we got here. Um, oh, here's a good one. So there's a rumor going on. So we've got Suicide Squad 2 that's in the works at the moment, and James Gunn is working on that. And Idris Elba, of course, has been cast. We don't know as what as of yet. So there's a rumor floating around that he may be playing one of two characters, either Sportsmaster or Deathstroke. Which is going to be kind of interesting because Deathstroke supposedly has already been played by Joe Mangini or Manjo, however you pronounce his name. He's the guy who played Flash Thompson in the Toby Maguire, excuse me, Spider-Man. Who was also in True Blood, all that stuff. He was the werewolf and all that kind of stuff. Isn't Sportsmaster white? Yeah, so is Deathstroke. Mr. Roboto. Doesn't make any difference. Quite honestly, they're comic books. You can do whatever you want. Quite honestly. The only time you really can't have a person of color play a white guy is when that white person or that character is a raving racist, like part of a racist group kind of thing, because then it just doesn't make any sense, really. And then it becomes kind of a comedy, a la Dave Chappelle, if you ever saw the Dave Chappelle show. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I still love, and it's fairly recent. Idris Elba was on SNL, Saturday Night Live, and he was on a game show called "Can I Play This?" And they have actors, three actors, and they posit a role and ask them if they can play this, and then they have to kind of go through the scenarios of everything. And I swear to God, I almost peed myself because it was pretty damn funny. And it was the first thing that was actually really that funny on SNL in a long time. Yes, Viking bitch. That's the skit I'm talking about from Dave Chappelle. It's just wrong. Just completely wrong. And yes, Mr. Roboto, Sportsmaster is the evil Casey Jones. You're right on that. Viking bitch says Idris makes women pregnant just by looking at them. I thought it was just by talking, is what it was. Agent Future says, I was hoping Idris Elba will play Bronze Tiger. That would be an interesting choice. There was a rumor out there for a little while that Michael Rooker was going to be playing King Shark, which would have been awesome. And then Michael Rooker got on Twitter and said, no, I'm not playing that. That would have been fucking awesome, having having him play, King Shark. Because that actually falls into Michael Rooker's wheelhouse fairly well. I would have loved to see that. Yes, they have done King Shark. They've been doing it pretty well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Roboto. Flash has done it, and I like that when they bring in King Shark. I'm not sure your science works out. You have Stanley Tweedle. She doesn't know how women get pregnant, obviously. You hear that movie, Fanobi? If you're out there. Oh, God. So let's see. I'm going to get to one of the main topics here. Might as well go with the first one. So, what's canceled, what's on the bubble, and what's staying, and what's in limbo? So, our good friend Susan Layton over at 1428 Elm has tweeted out there's a channel out there called, or excuse me, not a channel, but a page out there called Canceled Sci-Fi, and they kind of do a watch on a lot of sci-fi shows, what's going to be canceled, what's not, all that kind of stuff. And of course, we know that some things have been canceled and brought back, but like I said, yesterday was kind of the big culling day. So some of the things here we've got on the bubble, Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger, I can't get through. I don't even want to look at the second season just because the first season was so bad. That is actually on the bubble. And again, ABC owns Freeform, which of course Disney owns ABC, which owns Marvel. I'm pretty sure it's going to come back again because no one really watches Freeform. Freeform is it's a very light TV. Will the Magicians get canceled, Mr. Roboto? That's a good question. Let's see. Deadly Class. It's saying here the renewal is possible. It said the show started out with decent numbers, but saw those slip in as the first season progressed. But Sci-Fi's parent company has an ownership stake in the show and believes it's just barely good enough to get a second season. But you can do a call to action, is what they call it, and that kind of through social nets and all that kind of stuff, give it a little bit of a boost. I've covered the show. I actually like the show. I want to see it get a second season. So Deadly Class is one of those things that I would like to see go into a second season and see how it's going to be. Oh, wow. Okay. Pen Farm Girl says, I watch Show Hunters on Freeform. Yes, I watch crap. Hey, Pen Farm Girl, I watch CW shows. So there you go. Stanley Tweedle says, not C and D. Please don't kill it. Dennis promised the reviews. I tried, Stanley Tweedle. I really did try, and I couldn't get through it. If I was going to do it, it was going to be a hate watch, is what it was going to be. And I don't do hate watch shows. I'm sorry. There are other channels that thrive on that. And, I came from one of those channels, and I'm not going back to that. So, not really my bag. Giovanna Dotlick says, I really wish they renewed DC. You're talking about DC Universe? Okay. I don't know what you're talking about there about DC. Oh, Deadly Class. Sorry. God, my brain is just out there. It's been a week. That's all I'm going to say. So Happy over at Sci-Fi is on the bubble. As they said, this hard-boiled fantasy has seen its ratings drop notably in the second season, and Sci-Fi is particularly bad about supporting its shows past the inaugural season. The network's parent company, which is NBC Universal, does have an ownership stake in the shows, though, so that's what keeps me from moving this from cancellation to likely status. Keeping it moving to cancellation likely status is what he says. Again, a call to action is talked about on this. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this one, quite honestly. I've been covering Happy, and this second season's been rough, like really, really rough. And it's just the last episode where they've kind of turned things around and needed to happen 3 episodes ago. It's been a very uneven season, and they really didn't know where they were going with it, to tell you the truth. And it shows. It shows that they really didn't know where they were going with it. And again, it could have been budget. Um, who knows? Quite honestly, there was a lot of stuff though. They pumped a lot of money into it. Yeah, I agree, Viking Bitch. It's got some good moments, but very uneven. Very, very uneven. So, what else do we got here? The OA on Netflix. I don't watch this, but I've heard a lot of people have talking about it. Its renewal is possible. So this show has received some good buzz through its first 2 seasons, and I'm betting that Netflix keeps it around for another year. But that streaming service has a tendency to end shows after the third season lately. So again, like Stars, ending it after the third season, that is what they do. And not surprising because I mean these things do cost them money. And again, I wish they would just go to the model of you pitch a show, you have a 3-season maximum is what it is. That's where the story is going to play out. If the first season, you have the first season play out so that it has a likely ending place, but you can still go on. If you don't get picked up after the first season because the ratings are bad or anything like that, it's done, over with, boom. But if it gets picked up again, you go the next 2 seasons, and that's where you end the story. And then if if it's a popular series, you start another round of 3 episodes, 3-season arcs. You do it that way. Again, the telenovelas have been doing this for decades. That's all you need to do. Pen Farm Girl says, I still like Happy, hoping it finishes the season strong and comes back for at least one more. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Viking Bitch says, I adore Doom Patrol, so I will watch Swamp Thing. I'm hoping for the same quality. I do too. I don't know. I watched the teaser trailer where they're introducing Abby Arcane, where she's just laying there in some weeds, I guess you could say it is, and it's actually Swamp Thing that she's laying on. It's interesting. There we go. What else we got? Pen Farm Girl says the last episode is really good. It's still worth a watch. You're talking about Happy, yeah. Yeah. Tweedle says Doom Patrol is the best DC live action series ever. Yeah, it really is. They took, quite honestly, the writers need to be they need to get an Emmy for it. They really do. They took what could have been really, really rough in any other hands and turned it into a gem. They really did. Hey, Andrej Marek. Very, very well done, very well written. I mean, the actors also bring a lot to the table as well. Alan Tudyk, everything that he's in, every scene that he's in, he steals and just eats up scenery. He is, I'm going to go out and say he's the William Shatner of all of this, where when he comes in, he just chews up scenery but does it well and memorable and just one of the great characters, one of the great villains in this too. A great villain all around, I should say. So let's get to the big one here. The Orville on Fox. The status is on the bubble. So a lot of eyes are on the show now as its ratings dropped notably in its second season and its status is tenuous at the moment. It did see significant gains in live +7, which means the same day of viewing when it's live, +7 days later on DVR. Delayed viewing, which is the broadcast networks are paying a little more attention to lately. But the recent Disney buyout of Fox Entertainment Properties reduces the stake of that Fox TV network has in the show. So Seth MacFarlane does still have some pull at the network, so maybe that will help. I don't think so, because yes, he has pull at Fox. He doesn't have any pull at Disney, and Disney right now, they don't care if it's not making them money, if it's not putting up numbers the way it's not posting numbers the way it's going to be. They're going to cancel the shit, unless it's called Agents of Shield. Then that shit's going to live around forever like a zombie plague. He also says, I consider it a toss up at this point, and the Orvo will be the one that will generate this year's big Save My Show campaign if it gets canceled. Yeah. So right now I know that Susan really loves that show. I, of course, do not. So, and yes, I did finish out the season. I watched it and I kind of thought it was a cop out what they did the last 2 episodes. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm like, all right. Mr. Roboto says, are you calling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Walking Dead? Yeah, I'm calling it a zombie show, Mr. Roboto, because that thing should have been canceled like back in season 4. But it keeps going on and on and on. And it was kind of funny because ABC tried canceling, then Disney stepped in. They're like, nope, we're going to renew it again. They actually overruled ABC. And now it's got season 6 coming out and season 7, which were filmed back to back. So yeah. Battle Marcus says, I watched season 1 of the Orville, but season 2, not for me. I understand, Battle Marcus. I'm in the same boat. Stanley Tweedle says the little Lex. Is that an euphemism? Uh, uh, I am not going to touch that. Literally not going to touch that. So, The Passage on Fox. The Passage actually got canceled. So, this is a little bit late here. He says cancellation likely, and he's right. This show has been canceled by Fox. Thankfully, it was boring. I mean, I covered this show and I gave it the first 4 episodes, and it just was boring. Yes, it's about vampires. Get to the fucking vampires. That's all I'm gonna say. Because you spent a lot of time basically when you start off your first season on the farm, as they say, because that is Walking Dead season 2, where they got stuck on the farm, on Herschel's farm. That is where this show started off at. It got started off stuck on the farm and went nowhere. I mean, just absolutely nowhere. It just kept going roundabout ways. And yeah, you know. Mr. Roboto says perhaps we can get The Gifted on HBO. Got to feed that Stephen Moyer. No, thankfully Fox canceled that shit, Mr. Roboto. We actually need a real X-Men series, like a real X-Men series, not this pseudo X-Men shit. We also need real X-Men movies too. Not this pseudo Bryan Singer shit that we've been getting now for 20 years. We need a real X-Men movie. We need a real X-Men TV series. I would even settle for X-Force. I would settle for, Extreme, whatever else X title you got out there. Put something in there that's got fucking mutants in it, for God's sakes, and do it right. Do it like the comics. Don't try and ground it in fucking reality or try to explain it away with pseudoscience or anything like that. Just do it like the goddamn comics. There's a reason why the comics were successful. Don't stray from your source material. Do your damn source material. Yes, I understand you're an artiste and you want to put your vision on it and your stamp. Fuck you. Do your own thing then. Don't take somebody else's vision and screw it up. Because then what happens is you end up getting something like Jonah Hex. There we go. I got that out of my system. Staley Turtle says, I liked Vampire Bill, but The Gifted could go the way of the dodo for me. Yeah, it has. It's done. Mr. Roboto says, Dennis, they were not stuck on the farm. They were on the farm on the nook. Yeah, they were. They were in the breakfast nook, Mr. Roboto, on the farm. Just kind of stuck there with the Passage. Pen Farm Girl says, I stuck with Passage to the end, too. The last episode crammed in a season's worth of stuff. One of the most bizarre decisions I've ever seen. Stanley Tweedle, it's canceled, so I don't know if it's worth finishing the Passage or not at this point. Oh, you meant the book. I heard the book's really good. I really do. I heard the book was really good. The series I heard was good. But yeah, that TV show sucked balls. There we go. So here we also have Siren on Freeform. I don't watch that one either. I know some people that do, and it says renewal is possible. The Tick on Prime, which I do cover. I'll be covering that Monday. Renewal possible. This show has been well received across its first 2 seasons, and I consider it a good candidate for a 3rd-year renewal at this point. That's what this guy says. Okay, and by this guy, let me actually go back up here and see who the author is. Johnny J over at Canceled Sci-Fi is what his name is. So, and then of course we have Young Justice, the animated series over at DC Universe. And it says renewal possible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be renewed. And given the this season, the current season that's out there right now, a current half season, I guess you could say, isn't as good as the first 2 seasons. But damn, man, it's still good. It's better than anything else that's out there right now. And I really want to see more of it. Tell you the truth, it's a good animated show. It's a really good animated show. Young Justice is okay, as Mr. Roboto says. Yeah, I highly recommend. By the way, and I'm just blanking on Legion of Superheroes, which is on DC Universe. They have the old Legion of Superheroes. It's when they take Superboy and bring him to the future to the 31st century and all this stuff. It's actually a really good series. If you really want to see something, Fox had actually done this back in the early 2000s, and it was pretty damn good. That's all I'm going to say. Andrej Marek says, "Did you watch Cobra Kai season 2?" I still haven't, Andrej. I haven't gotten around to it. There's a lot of stuff I need to watch. Just these last 2 weeks have been busy at work. I mean, just really super busy. And this insanity continues because I thought I was over with it on Friday. And then, of course, what do I get Friday by about midday? No, no, no. You're starting all over again with a whole bunch of shit. So, yeah, it's going to be lots and lots of fun next week as well. I heard season 2 is awesome. I can't wait for it. I'm not going to be able to cover it, quite honestly, on this show. I'm not going to be able to do it justice. I may do a one-off, if anything, but it's not going to be for a while. Yeah. It's I wish I could cover a lot of different shows, but unfortunately, I'm not doing this full time. So that's pretty much it that he had on his thoughts on this stuff. Oh, and by the way, also on a non-genre related note, um, what's the show called now? Lethal Weapon. The Lethal Weapon TV show finally got canceled by Fox as of today. Thank God. I mean, that really needed to be canceled as well. The shit surrounding that show um, just needed to go. That's all it was. Uh, there's a lot of shit going on between the two leads, getting one fired, bringing in another actor into an already volatile situation. And so all this stuff that was happening behind the scenes that was really because of one person. And yeah, it just ended up turning into an entire shit show. And I'm glad they canceled that thing. Mr. Roboto says, Watchmen TV show HBO, will you be checking it out? Yes, I will give it my 4 episode rule. If the first 4 episodes suck balls, I'm not going to be covering it anymore. But yes, I did watch the trailer for it. That weird trailer with the TikTok thing. I'm not a fan of Damon Lindelof. Not a fan at all. And it has his stamp all over it. You can see, and it looks like it's going to crap on an already crappy movie. Quite honestly, I know he had a hand in the movie as well, writing that movie. But yeah, it just it looks like it's already pre-spoiled. That's all I'm going to say. Stan Trio says I like the leftovers. I couldn't get into it, but then again, I'm not into the whole Rapture thing. I know some people there's a series of all these different Rapture shows and series and stuff like that. It just doesn't push my buttons. Battle Market says I'm a big fan of the Heroes, and I watched the first 2 episodes of The Gifted because they had similar vibe, but it sucks. Yeah, and the thing is, The Gifted probably had a chance, Matt Nix, if he was given an opportunity to do it, but I think because of Singer's involvement, Singer, every time he gets involved with a good person, a good showrunner, a good director, a good writer, I'm going to go with Matthew Vaughn on this one because Matthew Vaughn was on X-Men First Class, which is a decent movie, but not a great movie. And the reason why is they didn't let Matthew Vaughn do what he does best because Singer held him back. And that's the reason why that's only a mediocre movie and not a great movie. It was enough to keep the X-Men franchise alive under Singer's reign, which is a shame because quite honestly, Singer needed to have his fingers unpried from that franchise so that somebody else could have a shot at it and actually do it well. No, I don't want to see Anna Paquin ever again as an X-Men character. I'm sorry, Mr. Roboto. I really don't. I'm sorry, she's about just as bad of an actress as her husband, Stephen Moyer. So yeah, I can't see them ever again. I don't want to see. And the thing is, they're both an X-Men movie or X-Men shows, if you will. Sookie, yeah. I still remember to this day the first episode. I was over at somebody's house. We were doing a big viewing party of it, and I was laughing out loud. I didn't realize it wasn't a comedy that it was supposed to be serious, and I was laughing, and that's what I thought it was supposed to be, was a comedy. Um, I'm talking about True Blood. That's what I thought it was, and then everyone else around me is kinda quiet because I guess they had all read the books and stuff like that, and I was like, "What? That's pretty damn funny. That's some funny shit, man. Come on. What are you laughing?" But I guess, I wasn't invited back. Because come on, it was funny. You go back and watch that first episode, it's pretty damn funny. Mr. Roboto, what if Steve Moyer was cast as Dr. Manhattan? No. Uh, you know, Granted, Dr. Manhattan has no emotion. You know who would be good for that one is oh god, now I'm blanking on his name. Oh. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna if I can bet you're a terrible house guest. I just came over to watch the show. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it was vampires. That's all it was. And if I can bet you, I liked True Blood until the last season, but hated the fairy storyline. They fucked that up bad. Yeah. For romance novels, it's quite a good TV show, Stanley Tweedle says. Penn Farm Girl, he was the driver in that really bad movie. Gosling, there we go, Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling would make a great Dr. Manhattan because he can't emote for shit. And that's what Dr. Manhattan's supposed to be, is just this emotionless twit. Not twit, but emotionless. And just stand there and make, this is Ryan Gosling happy, sad, angry. Yeah. So yeah, eventually my brain kicks into gear, Penn Farm Girl, and it all comes back again. But yeah, Ryan Gosling would make a great Dr. Manhattan. So, oh man, yeah, I'm probably gonna get some hate mail on that one. Oh well, guess that's gonna happen. So, did anyone ever see Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law on Adult Swim? Was I the only one? Which is a great animated series. It's the funniest shit you will ever see. Especially one of my favorite episodes is Apache Chief from the old Super Friends 70s, 80s, 70s and 80s TV show. He gets a cup of coffee spilled in his lap and he can't grow big anymore. Yeah, it's a double entendre, of course. And it's voiced by the great Gary Cole as well. They are doing a spin-off of that one. They actually came back briefly for Harvey Birdman, Attorney General. Yes. I didn't see Harvey Birdman, Attorney General. I've got to go back and watch it. I know that it was out there. But they are doing a spin-off of Harvey Birdman, and it's going to be Bird Girl, his sidekick, and they're bringing back Paget Brewster, who voiced her in the original series, and they're going to do a spin-off of that on Adult Swim. I'm looking forward to that because that actually looks like it's going to be pretty damn fun. If it's any if it's the same writers and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be just as much fun as the original. The original is pretty damn funny. Andres Mark says, "Imagine rom-com with Ryan Gosling and Brie Larson." Oh shit! Oh, Andres Mark, that's pretty tough. Actually, no, Ryan Gosling and Anna Paquin. Stanley Trail says, "I like the Harvey Birdman series. It was fun. Yeah, it was." Who is cast as Swamp Thing? I can't remember his name now, unfortunately, but he's actually a decent actor. Viking Bitch says, at the time that Charlene Harris got her books made into True Blood, Laurel Hamilton was upset that no series was made from her Anita Blake series, which turned into the biggest Mary Sue character ever. Really? I hate that term, Mary Sue. Uh, yes, I know what it entails, that it's someone that can do, a woman that can do anything, that can do no wrong and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of guy characters out there too. So what do you call those guys? Mark Sue or uh, Billy Bob? I don't know. Gary Sue. Is that what you said, Mr. Roboto? That's pretty funny. Gary Stew. There you go. There you go. Stanley Tweedle. That's actually good. Yeah, uh, the thing is they really need to they really need to stop remaking movies with all female leads, and I get it. I know what you're going for. Just fucking do something new with a all-female cast if you wanna do it. I watched, I came into Ocean's 8. I now have all the movie packages, so, like, HBO, Cinemax, all that kinda stuff on cable. I got a really good deal for it. You probably heard me talk about this before. So I came in the middle of Ocean's 8, never saw it before, and I figured it wasn't gonna ruin it anyway because 'cause I'd heard really bad things about it, and I was right. The movie sucked. It was pretty bad, and, yeah, again, taking a movie premise and just slapping a bunch of female leads into it because that is the trend at the time, and really all you need to do is come up with your own story that works with those characters or works with a female lead. It's happened before. Look at Charlie's Angels, the movie. Yes, everyone's going, "What the fuck? Charlie's Angels as a movie with Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu? What the fuck?" That was a good movie. That was a lot of fun. Full Throttle even was actually pretty damn good. So, I mean, and speaking of which, because this kind of leads me into my other thing here. Yeah, Cliffhanger. So I don't know if anyone remembers that 90s movie with Sylvester Stallone as a rock climber and John Lithgow as a bad guy, and it's a really horrible fucking movie. But anyway, that's getting a remake with an all-female lead. No one asked for this. They're just doing this. They're doing a female-led remake of Cliffhanger. Uh yeah. Just my God, why? Just stop. Stop already, okay? We don't need, or what are they gonna do next? An all-female remake of The Full Monty? Oh, wait, that's called Showgirls. That's what it was. Sorry. That's a bad joke. I know. Yeah, they are butt chugging. Exactly, Pen Farm Girl. You can tell that these studio execs are butt chugging big time. So, um, Pen Farm Girl says, "What? You aren't looking forward to the next Terminator?" No, I'm not. I'm really not. Yes, I know James Cameron's involved as producer on that. Who is the protagonist of the new Terminator called Joan Connor? No. And the thing is, this isn't about women can't play roles or anything like that, or they can't carry a movie. Women can definitely carry movies. It's been shown that if you have an original storyline, if you have a good enough story, you can do it. And you don't need to remake some fucking property that worked 20, 30 years ago into a movie with an all-female lead. You don't need to do that. You really don't. Just come up with a good story. There are tons of good stories out here. As you can see, these books behind me. Fucking pick a book. Pick one up. Yeah, I know people don't read books anymore. They don't know what bookstores are or libraries or anything like that. Pick one up. Stanley Tweedle, that was, yeah. Captain Marvel was just a badly written movie that had 7 different voices going on in it, and you could tell. They were all vying for all these different things until the last 20 minutes. The last 20 minutes of that movie was written by one person, and that was the original script, you could tell. And they shoehorned everything else into it with the other 7 voices. Because it was kind of funny. It was up until the last 20 minutes, nothing made sense. And then I'm like, where did this come from? All of a sudden you have a coherent storyline and okay. All right. Pen Farm Girl says, "I just want more Sarah Connor Chronicles. It isn't too late." Uh, I would love to see more of that too, Pen Farm Girl, but yeah, that ship has sailed. It sailed a while back, and that was, if you really want to see a good storyline and female-led storyline, go and watch that TV show. Yes, it is off an old property, but it continues the storyline. That's all I'm gonna say. It was already a female-led show to begin with, or movie to begin with. It just carries on the storyline. What's your view on 20-year sequels? They're not necessary, Mr. Roboto, unless you have a reason to do it, or you actually have a good storyline to do it. If you're just doing it for the money, which a lot of people are, and yes, I know this is a for-profit industry, all that kind of stuff, and that's what they're trying to do is make money, make lots of money. Uh, don't don't do it. Um, yeah, the all-female lead Lost Boys as well, Mr. Roboto. Supposedly the CW looked at the first episode and they said reshoot a good portion of it. That's a CW, by the way. When the CW tells you to reshoot your pilot, something's wrong because they take a lot of shit and put it on their shows, on their channel. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes, I agree with you, Viking bitch. Yes, she was a great Sarah Connor in that show, and Summer Glau as well as a Terminator. She was really good as well. I think that was the last thing Summer Glau was in, wasn't she? Stanley Tweedle was Sarah Connor Chronicles. Yes, exactly. Pen Farm Girl. CW thought it was bad, so they actually put it back and told them to reshoot it. Oh, the Cape. That's oh god, I actually obliterated that one from my mind. Stanley Tweedle. That took a lot of Jack Daniels to obliterate that show from my mind. Quite honestly, the guy who's the villain in the Cape. Every time he shows up in a TV show, I call him the Kiss of Death, because he shows up in TV shows in the middle of them usually, and they end up getting canceled shortly thereafter. The female stilt man, like female stilt man. Um, so speaking of outrage and false outrage and all that kind of stuff, last episode of Game of Thrones, the last of the Starks, there was a little bit of a gaffe that happened during production, I guess you could say, and they left it in by accident. You probably saw this, but there was a coffee cup that was left, a Starbucks coffee cup left on the table in front of Daenerys as the whole party was going on. Or not, well, not the whole party, the celebration that they were alive after the long night. And there's a lot of false outrage about this. Like, how dare they do that? How dare they break my hold on reality that I can't tell fantasy from reality anymore? And there's been a lot of YouTube videos about this and all that. Shut the fuck up. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, it's a coffee cup. Yes, it's been digitally removed now. It's been digitally scrubbed, but it's a goddamn coffee cup. You know how many gaffes are in movies? There's a whole website dedicated to all these things of pointing out like boom mics and shots, coffee cups left. If you are really, really anal retentive, you can go and watch when people are drinking drinks in a scene and look at the levels of drinks that are going on. They go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, full, empty, all that kind of stuff because they don't shoot these things sequentially. Yes, every now and then people drink drinks in between shooting. They left a coffee cup on the table. Oh my god. Get over yourself. Quite honestly. Yeah, if you have a problem with the show, you have a problem with the show. That's not one of the problems, quite honestly. The problem is you. That's all I'm going to say. Yes, exactly. How dare they leave a coffee cup on the table in Game of Thrones? It's a Starkbuck conspiracy. Yes, Starkbucks. Stanley Twiddle says, I did not see it. Had a hard time finding the cup when I searched for it. It's when John gets up and he's talking to Tormund. And Tormund is praising John for surviving all this shit. And Dany is sitting by herself. And just as they look over at her, John's on the left hand side of the screen and she is to the right. Then it's sitting on the table there. But I think now they've scrubbed it out. So if you go back and try and watch it again, they've scrubbed it out already. Stanley Tweedle says, what are you saying? Dany's Targaryen is not real? Exactly, she isn't. That is what I'm saying. I'm like, if you can't separate your fantasy from reality at this point. If you can't suspend disbelief at this point in your life that you need to get on fucking YouTube and rant about a fucking coffee cup on a table during a fantasy show, you need to just, I don't know, seek some therapy, god damn it. Get outside, talk to some people. Dragons aren't real, okay? Yeah. Oh, man. That's all I'm gonna say about that shit. I mean, damn. Hey, kiddo Roan, how's it going? Penn Farm Girl says it was cropped on my TV, but I watched it on the computer. I clearly saw it. Yeah. There is no Santa Claus. Santa Claus is real, Viking bitch. There was a saint that was named Saint Nicholas, and yes, he was real. So this has been a lot of venting today. And if Starbucks was actually savvy about this, they could actually make some cups with work with HBO to get some Starbucks cups made with the House of Stark label on there and whatnot and sell them, or with the different houses stamped on there and make a shit ton of money. You finally saw Barbarella, huh, Mr. Roboto? Yeah. Well, that is a what now? Almost a 50, it's a 50-year-old movie, Mr. Roboto. So, congratulations. No, it's more than 50 years old now. So, Andres Merrick says, did U.S. Air Force already order a few of those Scorpions? Who needs air-to-air missiles? Yeah, I know, really. Um, have you seen all the memes, Dennis? Is what Stanley? No, I haven't. I've been working, Stanley. I haven't had time to sit in front of the computer and scroll through a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't get stuff sent to me as much anymore. Yeah, exactly, Viking bitch. No one watched Barbarella for the storyline. Yeah. Stanley Twill says I saw Barbarella last year for the first time. Yeah, it's usually if you ever take a film class, Barbarella is in usually one of those film classes, especially if you take a lot of them. I took a lot of film classes in my younger days, and Barbarella was one of them. I think there was a whole Stanley Kubrick line, and that was kind of thrown in there as one of those weird oddity ones. Yeah, it's supposed to be the surreal period of the '60s and all that stuff. So Andy Warhol esque, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, god damn, man, if you can't get over a fucking cup, just stop watching TV. Yeah, stop watching it completely, or just watch modern day crime stuff or true stories or reality TV. Reality TV might be your only hope at that point. And even then, by the way, reality TV isn't reality really. It's scripted. That's right. They have writers on the show. If you go in and you actually take a look at the credits, they have script writers on reality TV shows. There's a reason for that. Because normally reality is pretty fucking boring. So what they do is they feed them lines in order to create some kind of controversy. I know, Stanley Tweedle, I'm destroying illusions left and right. This is turning into ASMR. All right, let's go back to something else. So, Endgame didn't have an end credit scene, right? Avengers Endgame. And I'm not spoiling anything for Avengers Endgame for those of you who haven't seen it yet, so don't worry. I'm not spoiling anything about it. I just at the very end of the credits, people were waiting for an end credit scene. Of course, there wasn't one. Well, they've changed that now. So now at the end of Avengers Endgame, they've added the Spider-Man Far From Home the second trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home as the official end credit scene to the movie, which I thought was kind of brilliant that they did that. If you haven't seen the Spider-Man Far From Home second trailer, go and watch it. It's actually a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to the movie, especially all the stuff that they have alluded to in that. Um, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have no problem with Tom Harlan. Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I actually like him as Spider-Man. Uh, the, the actor in real life, he's kind of a little bit of a ditzy. He's blonde, really. If you want to go into stereotypes, he should be blonde anyway. But he plays a great Peter Parker and a great Spider-Man. I thought it was good. Battle Marcus 8, I need to go make my dinner, have fun. Bye, everyone. See you, Battle Marcus. Thanks for joining. How does Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tie into Endgame? Supposedly they are making some references and they are going to tie into Hulk, from what I understand, Mr. Roboto. That's all I know. And that's what I've been reading, is that they're going to do it. Am I going to be watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Yeah, I've gone along this far so far, so why the hell not? I'll watch it, but I'm not going to cover it on this show because it's just going to be, again, hate watching. That's my own private hate watching. That's all I'm going to say. Stanley Tweedle says, I saw the first episode, no connection yet. Yeah, I think it's the second or third episode is where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of ties into the movies. And then they do it briefly and then they disappear after that. They don't tie into them anymore. Mr. Roboto says, like The Walking Dead, I stopped at season 4. I don't blame you, man. Yeah, I kept going with it. No, I'm not going to hate watch it, Mr. Roboto. Not going to do it. Andrej Mark says, I have a love-hate relationship with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's, in my opinion, mostly good when you can keep suspense of disbelief. It's not just that, Andrej. My problem with it is they kind of spin their tires on a lot of storyline and don't get to the point and spend too much time in what could have been a 1 or 2 episode arc, and they turn it into a 13 episode arc. I almost didn't get over the farm. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. They just need to kind of speed it up a little bit more. And I understand it's because of their budget, what they're working with. And yeah, it's when you keep reusing the same sets over and over and over and over again, you know that your budget has gone down. Exactly. Viking Bitch Life is too short to hate watch stuff. So it is, unless you're enjoying that little bit there. I don't like ranting about it, quite honestly. I can rant about it. I can rant with the best of them about this kind of stuff, but it's not fun in the long run. Sure, it would get me tons and tons of views. If you go and take a look back at my Orville ones, season 2 here, I was really getting down on it. And people were just angry that I didn't like it, that I was, not agreeing with them, that I had a different opinion. And that's what life is all about. We all have different opinions. You know what? If you like something and I don't, that's called a difference of opinion. We can't like everything. That's what the Bee Gees are for. You still hate watch STD, Stanley Tweedle? Yeah, a lot of people do. There's even some people that still cover it too. That's all they cover. Oh, except for, never mind. I'm not going to get it down either. Sorry, that was a little backhand on that one. Oh, this is a good one. So YouTube finally confirmed that it's going to stream its original shows for free, but with ads. Thank God, because quite honestly, I really wanted to watch Cobra Kai season 2, but I was on the fence about paying for, yet another streaming service, especially for just one TV show. I just can't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that that's what they're going to do. I can deal with ads. That's fine. So that's perfect. That's what I want. Viking Bitch says, so people hate watched your Orville reviews? Yeah, they did. Quite honestly, Viking Bitch, they really did. And then, of course, ranted and raved about him in my comments section. So see you, Mr. Roboto. Gonna check out Life Force for the story. Nice. Oh man. Yeah. But getting back to that, excuse me, to YouTube. Yeah, I actually am all for that. They don't have a lot of original TV shows right now, other than Cobra Kai. That I should say they don't have a lot of good original TV shows right now. Cobra Kai is the only one that I consider good. And again, I would pay for it just as a season or something like that to watch it, but I'm not going to pay a monthly subscription just to watch one TV show. It's just not worth it. And speaking of which, streaming services that I really don't want to pay for, Disney Plus. So Disney Plus, or D Plus as we call it here. Oh my God. Yeah, this one kind of hurts me. So Willow, the movie, supposedly Ron Howard has let out of the bag that there's been lots of talk about creating a series on D Plus. Um, they call it a series reboot based on the movie, which is a big duh. Yeah, I know there's a whole bunch of books, Willow books that were out there that were very popular, but they're talking about making a series on Willow starring Warwick Davis. He's coming back. And, you know, there we go. Um, why? I don't know. It's not a good movie. I understand there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it, but even when it first came out, it wasn't well received. It really wasn't. A lot of Ron Howard movies aren't very well received. He's a capable director. He's just not a very compelling director. That's all I can say. Uh, yeah, exactly, Viking Bitch. A Willow series is a bad idea. And I mean, also, what are you going to bring back a bloated Val Kilmer too as Mad Mardigan, and expand that armor out a bit so he can fit into it? No, it's not a good idea. Stanley Tudor says, I still like Willow. I liked it when it came out. Yeah, but were you a kid when it came out, or were you a little bit older? See, I was in my teens when that came out, and I was not the right age group for it, and I could see how bad it was for what it was. Viking Bitch says not like Time Bandits. Now that I would like. They are working on a Time Bandits TV show, Viking Bitch. I can't remember who's doing it. If it's Hulu or somebody's working on it right now. And that I'm looking forward to. I've got to go back and research that and see where that one's at. Because that is what I want to see as a TV show or TV series, is Time Bandits. Well done. It could be very, very fun. Kato Run says, even the background lore of Willow is fairly thin. A series would just be banking on the name nostalgia instead of a good hook. Exactly, Kato. Stanley Trail says, I'm a little older than you, so I probably have bad taste. I don't think Terry Gilliam's involved in that, Viking Bitch. He divorces himself from stuff once he's done with it. Especially like 12 Monkeys, a TV series. And I understand why 12 Monkeys, a TV series, why he was divorced from it. That had nothing to do with the movie, quite honestly. They Sci-Fi kind of shoehorned that movie into another TV show, which is Splinter. And they kind of morphed into that. And Terry Gilliam was pissed, quite honestly, when he found out that that's what they were doing. But yeah. And I agree with Viking Bitch, Stanley. Age has nothing to do with taste. Either, there's some stuff that we all like that can be considered bad taste in one way or another, and there's other stuff that can be good that people don't like. Yeah, you know how it is. And nostalgia can definitely have an impact. I have nostalgia about Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, which is an animated show that was on in the 80s. A lot of fun. I know if I go back and watch it now, it's probably going to be really, really horrible. That's why I haven't gone back and watched it. I did the same with the Mighty Orbots. The Mighty Orbots was a great animated show when I was a kid, loved it. Went back and watched it probably about a decade ago, and I was like, "Ooh, wow, this is bad." And so, yeah, I can't go back and watch that. But yes, I can still watch Legend and Labyrinth as well, Viking Bitch, and those still hold up over time. There are some that are just really well done, that are classics that yes, you have a nostalgia factor as well with some of those things, but some of them actually hold up as well. Hey, camel cats. Camel cats. That's interesting. Pen Farm Girl says Willow, Legend, Labyrinth. I had all three on bootlegged VHS. Exactly. So does Tim Curry as Darkness? Yes. Gremlins holds up as well, Kid Around, yeah. Camel Cat says, I really hope Happy doesn't get canceled. It is on the bubble, Camel Cats. I talked about it a little earlier. So we don't know for sure. So there we go. Stanley Trio says Labyrinth is one of my favorites. I also like Dark Crystal. Yeah, Dark Crystal is also getting the TV series remake as well. Oh, it's Amazon that's working on Time Bandits. That's who's working on it. Amazon's working on it. And Dark Crystal is Netflix. Now it just popped into my head. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So, and yes, I'm looking forward to the Dark Crystal series as well. I hope it's just done justice. That's all I can say. Camel Cat says such a surreal creative show would suck if it didn't get a good end. Yeah, Camel Cat's the second season of Happy is kind of uneven. They just this last episode they finally got to whatever story that they were getting to, which needed to happen like 3 episodes ago, like I said in the Happy review for last episode. So it really needs to. It really needs to do something to change that, I guess you could say, if they're going to go into a third season and come up with a coherent story. I know time is a factor. Yeah. Andrej Merrick says Conan the Barbarian holds up well for me. It needs to be audio only. If needs be on nice. Yeah, I love Conan the Barbarian. I have the director's cut someplace over here. There we go. There's where the DVDs are. Yes. And you don't see it, but the very top row there, I've got all of Robert E. Howard's Conan books up there. So from start to finish. And also some El Camp de Sprague books from Conan and a couple of the others. I love Conan books. They're awesome. Yes, Conan is awesome. John Millis was a great director. I mean, and again, he taught Spielberg, he taught Lucas, and yeah, a lot of modern filmmakers could learn a lot from him. I know a lot of his classes were recorded, so his teaching classes on film. Viking Bitch says, I'm still here for Happy, but it's pretty uneven thing this year. More Anne Margaret would help. Yeah, Anne Margaret was only in there for one episode, then she disappeared. Camel Cats is kind of slower this season, probably because they didn't have a graphic novel to go off of this season. Yeah. I'm fairly sure that's the reason why too, but yeah. Yes, Joker, the soundtrack for Conan is freaking cool. So, so we were talking about oh my god. Yeah, we were talking about Agents of Shield. So remember Ghost Driver, and I'm not going to call him, you know, GR because he wasn't. He was Ghost Driver. Well, Gabriel Luna, who played that character, is going to be returning as yet another Ghost Driver, excuse me, for a live action Hulu series. Yeah, you got that right. He is coming back as another Ghost Driver for a live action Hulu series. Why? If you're going to do Ghost Rider, just do Ghost Rider. Give us Johnny Blaze, for God's sake. Get it over with. I mean, just do goddamn Ghost Rider. That's all I'm going to say. You could do Midnight Suns. You can have Son of Satan. You can have Blade. All of this stuff. And you could put them together in there. You could do an anthology series called Tales of was it Tales of Night or something like that, or Tales of the Night, where they had Tomb of Dracula and all that kind of stuff. You could do that as an anthology series and have revolving characters in it. Marvel has a whole dark universe, a supernatural universe that you could actually work off of. Instead, we get Ghost Driver. And I'm fucking tired of it, quite honestly. You're doing all these generic ghost drivers, excuse me, and not getting to the main character, the one that was actually right, the one that actually created all of this kind of stuff, the one that was actually popular. So, Joker is the third, so I hope he's using a flaming chain. Who knows? Maybe he's going to use a flaming tire iron at this point. Stanley Tweedle says, "Can we not have more Doom Patrol or Legion instead?" Yeah, I would rather have more Legion, quite honestly, than something like that. But again, I understand Noah Hawley is getting big. He's going off to do movies. His movie that he just finished, his first movie, by the way, which was called Pale Blue Dot, but it's now called Lucy in the Sky with Natalie Portman and John Hamm, is set to come out fairly soon here. I want to say it's June, something like that. I think it's next month. Yeah, there we go. And do they do these knockoffs because they're too expensive? I think Viking Mitch, what they're trying to do is they're trying to save the big characters, the main characters like Ghost Rider for the movies. Unfortunately, they're not doing the movies because they don't know what to do with it. They haven't gotten the right person to work on it. And if you don't have somebody that actually likes the property and wants to do their own take on it, if you will, a la Nevedine and Taylor, um, those are the guys who did the second Ghost Rider movie. And I can't remember who did the first Ghost Rider movie because it was just so bad. And Nick Cage also wanting to put his 2 cents into it and add his own persona to it, which really fucked up those movies big time, in my opinion. Um, yeah, you just need to do Ghost Rider as Ghost Rider. Sam Elliott as, the caretaker was awesome in the first movie. You could go back and do the caretaker, quite honestly. You can do an 1800s version of Ghost Rider. That would be awesome if you wanna do something like that. That you could do as a TV series, the start of the whole Ghost Rider legend, because spoiler alert on this one, if you read the comics, supposedly it's a bloodline thing. That's how the Ghost Rider gets passed down. So the caretaker is actually the great grandfather of Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is related and somehow to Danny Ketch. If I remember correctly, he's like a cousin or something like that, or nephew or something like that. Y- and so on and so forth. So it's actually through the bloodline that this comes about, and it's a curse. That's how you make it. Doesn't need to be all that fucking hard to do it, quite honestly. Is there another season of Fargo on the horizon? I don't think so, Stanley Tweedle. I think he's done with FX. He's off doing movies. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's done with doing TV. Joker the Third says, by the way, Marvel HQ's channel is live streaming Avengers cartoons. Nice. That's kind of cool. I think you can actually find those on Fox, if I'm not mistaken. I think Fox might have them up. So Viking Bitch says, so they save the original properties for movies done poorly. That makes sense. I know exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I would love to see an old Western done with supernatural overtones and a series, and have the caretaker as the main character. And he's cursed, of course, riding the lands and collecting souls or doing penance, all that kind of stuff. Not Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex, if done right, you could actually do it. This series that came out in 2000, I want to say it was 2007, 2008, something like that, was really well done. If you take that series and make it into a TV series, it would work, quite honestly, because all he is, he's a bounty hunter. You can have storylines in it. Don't deal with the supernatural with Jonah Hex. That's not what he was about. Yes, I know Joe Lansdale did a series, that had the supernatural and Jonah Hex in it, which was good, but um, it's not Jonah Hex, quite honestly. Jonah Hex is basically he's a cowboy is what he is. He's a bounty hunter in the Old West. He's Batman, if you will, but in the Old West. Joker the Third says Jonah. Yeah, and that's what you want to do. Yeah, I'll keep rambling on and on about all kinds of different stuff here. So the last thing I have for movie wise or news wise, I guess you could say, is that Zombieland 2 Double Tap has been moved to a late October release, which is perfect. I want to see a zombie movie during Halloween, especially something that's going to be fun like Zombieland 2, because the original cast is all returning to this. Supposedly Bill Murray makes a cameo, from what I understand. So I'm interested to see that. And I think that's a good time to actually have it. And I know the Addams Family animated movie actually moved up a couple of weeks to October 11th release. So October is going to be kind of fun for, you know, Halloween related movies, if you will. But yeah, man, Marvel needs to work a little bit on their TV game. That's what they need to do, especially if they're going to catch up to where DC Universe is going right now. And yes, I know the CW is kind of but Legends of Tomorrow is actually a lot of fun. That's the one thing that if you can keep politics out of your superhero stuff, um, excuse me, not just politics, but sure, okay, X-Men was based on the civil rights movement. I understand that. Loosely based on it. That's what you need to do is loosely base it on it. You do not focus on it on whatever the politics or the latest stripes of the time are. You do not try to focus intently on that. You make it a side issue, something that is the B roll plot, not the A roll plot. I'm sorry, you start doing that kind of stuff, then you lose people like iZombie. Viking Bitch says, I saw the trailer for that Addams Family movie. It didn't do much for me. The Addams Family needs to be a dark comedy. That is the point. Yeah, they're going back to the original comic strips, Viking Bitch. So, and the comic strips were a lot lighter in tone. So I know where they're going with it, and they're trying to make it more kid friendly as well. Because again, that's what the Addams Family was. The TV show, the old TV show, actually moved into the darker territory, and then the movies went to the way dark territory. Which I like the 90s movies. The 90s movies are pretty damn funny. Yeah, they are lighter. It was supposed to be based on his family, on his real family, the guy who wrote them. Yeah, Stanley Tweedle, I did hear about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie Outrage, and now one I can see. So, for those of you who don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog had a trailer that was released 2 weeks ago, and it fell into the uncanny valley. Sonic looked really weird, like really weird. And people were just like, "Oh my god, that's disturbing." And so you had a couple people that actually went online and that were digital artists, and they took Sonic and made him more accurate to the video game, but still kept him in the real world kind of thing and made it a lot better. As a result, the director, I think it was, or the producer, I can't remember which one it was, went online and said, "We've heard your complaints. We are going to change it." So they're going to go back and they're actually going to change the way Sonic looks. It's going to be expensive because they have to redo all the CGI for it, but it's basically changing the model out on that one, changing out with the way the model looks, and then you know redoing all of the resolution. Basically, they're going to be going render farms at this point, so they're going to have to redo all the rendering shots on that. It's going to be a lot of money. Kidderun says, rewatch The Middleman last week. It's a good example of a fun comic book based show that tackles political issues quietly. Yeah, you don't need to hit people over the head with shit, quite honestly. Stanley Tweedle says, this thing looks horrible, nightmare fuel. Yeah. Joker the third says Dennis zombie payoff will be Liz can return. Yeah, that's we already know what it's going to end with. Joker. She's either it's one of two things. Joker. She's either going to die, or she is saving everybody, or she is going to become human and save everybody. It's one of the two. And my guess is right now with these showrunners, she is going to sacrifice herself in some way in order to make everyone human and save all of Seattle. That's the way these showrunners are running right now. For the show, you can tell it's a very heavy-handed showrunner and not a very fun showrunner at this point. They removed all the puns from the beginning of the freeze screens. They usually, when they come back from a commercial, they freeze the screen in the comic book style and have a little funny pun that was based on 80s songs and stuff like that. No longer. Is Seattle worth saving? That's a good question. When is the good place coming back? I don't think until fall, Viking Bitch. I know it only has like a limited run of episodes, and it usually comes back in fall. I'll probably hear more about that during Comic Con because they usually have a presence there, and they have. I don't know if they're going to do a panel or not. They might. That'll be fun. Stanley Tweedle says, "Seems like a strong artistic vision." Yeah. So yeah, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button, and you can. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button. I just ask that if you do hit the dislike button, go down in the comment section, give me some constructive criticism about what you don't like me flubbing words and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to see when I'll be on live again, you can hit the little bell. Just a word of warning, you're going to get a 50-50 chance of actually getting notification from that bell. You can go into the bell settings as well and get as little or as much notifications as you want. If you've already clicked on the bell, don't click it again because it will unclick it. So my schedule is up on suspendedfanimation.com. It's also up on Facebook as well. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram. And yes, I do have a Patreon page that's up and live. Patreon.com/suspendedfanimation, all one word. I don't have any tiers up at the moment because I haven't figured that out as of yet. So there we go. Let's see. Tomorrow is going to be Game of Thrones. Monday is The Tick. Tuesdays I'm off. Wednesday is Happy. Thursday is iZombie for now, if it doesn't get any better. Fridays is Doom Patrol. And of course, Saturday is what you're watching right now. Saturday Morning Blast Off. There we go. All right. I already licked Dennis. Okay, nice. Thanks, Stanley. SBO, exactly. Sculpted letter art by Viking Bitch. Thank you, everybody who joined me in the chat today. Hopefully, y'all had fun, and we got to talk about a lot of different things. And of course, we'll be talking about a lot of different things tomorrow, too. Well, not a lot of different things. We'll be talking about Game of Thrones tomorrow and episode 5 out of 6. Hopefully, it gets a little bit better because it's a little bit formulaic at the moment. But hey, what are you going to do? It's the final season. They only have so many episodes. There you go. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find that some artiste with their own vision has taken over your story and changed it to their own ends. Good night, everybody.